Playmate could face jail time for taking a photo of another woman naked in a gym locker room.
Yeah, this is about as dumb a thing as you could do in a locker room, right?
So horrible.
I mean, this is Dani Mathers in July posting it to her Snapchat, so she probably is like, oh, it's just my friends. But it wasn't. It was public. She says, if I can't unsee this, then you can't either. Obviously body shaming of someone in the gym. We've all had those moments in the gym where you see someone naked and maybe you think it, but whether you take a... Who does that? What
and
an insane, just
a horrible person.
Absolutely crazy. Whether she should go to jail, I mean, I don't know. But let's talk privacy, right?
Well, a locker room is obvious, for sure. A restroom is obvious. Even a hospital room inside your hospital room.
And those places have public elements to them, right? Like anyone is allowed in there.
And anyone's allowed in the lobby of the hospital. You shouldn't have an expectation of privacy there. But once you get into your room, you should. Anybody's allowed inside a Target and to really, in some cases, to take pictures, but not inside the dressing room in there. So those ones are obvious, and those have really been decided by the courts, where you have what's called a reasonable expectation of privacy, a reasonable person's expectation of privacy, because your expectation might be different from mine, but the courts have decided bathrooms, locker rooms, dressing rooms account. But
there's some tricky spots too, though, right?
Spots. So when you are in a public space, you really can take pictures wherever you want and whatever you want. It's
even if you're doing like a private kind of activity.
Right. So if I'm standing on a sidewalk, I can take pictures of anything that I see.
And that doesn't include like looking in someone's window.
It does include looking inside someone's window if you're standing in a public place, because if you can see inside their window, you're allowed to take a picture.
What about like a super duper zoom lens?
That depends on the state law. Now state laws are different using the technology to advance what you can see.
But if the naked eye could see it, you can take a picture of it.
Yes, you can. Now, there are some, when you get into, let's say if you are at an ATM, out in a public spot, and someone takes a picture of you at the ATM, punching in your code, they're allowed to do that.
Really?
Now, what is tricky, though, is if their intent is to steal your passcode, their intent then becomes part of a whole different statute.
Well, that makes sense as to why some banks have little
but they are allowed to take that photo. And in the U.S., we have our right to take these photos, to have the freedom of the press, really, and a lot of times outweighs our right to privacy. It's a very American thing. A lot of other countries don't have a similar right.
What about when you're in a store?
So that's different. The private companies are different. You can, from when I was talking to the privacy professor yesterday, she was saying you could, in a lot of places, if you go into a restaurant, if you go into a store, you should be able to expect to take photos unless someone's telling you not to, or unless someone asks you not to. So if there's a sign that says no photography allowed, if you go into a restaurant and they say, you know, look, we really don't want you taking pictures of our food, then you are legally obliged to stop taking photos.
Interesting.